It did not take long for us to uncover a conspiracy to cover up and suppress certain evidence regarding the escape of Joshua Zimmerman. Some co-conspirators from an outside entity, not the state of Mississippi. It has become clear to me that the people are not going to get the truth unless they themselves investigate this. So I am announcing that a grand jury will be given this case to perform their own assessment and inspection of the county facilities where we hold court. They will assess and inspect the conditions regarding the safekeeping of inmates, as is their duty under the Mississippi Constitution.
Hey guys, so there are no updates on the manhunt for Joshua Zimmerman. We do have a tip line established. Now, this was established to assist law enforcement and get tips from individuals who will not call the police, which it's fine. People have fear sometimes. They don't like to deal with police, which is why we launched the tip line on Dog the Bounty Hunter's official website, and also there's a 1-800 number. All tips are anonymous, and if you're hesitant to give information, a lot of times when it involves an individual like this, who's vile, dangerous, potentially tied to gangs, known to be with a cult, that kind of deters people from calling the police and calling law enforcement because of obvious reasons. A lot of the time they think maybe they'll have to testify, or maybe the police will show up, or maybe they'll go through their past, but that's just not the case. What they're looking for is an escaped killer. They're not looking for randoms that call to report the escaped killer, but nonetheless, if you don't feel comfortable calling the U.S. Marshals or calling the police, you can call the tip line. That's 1-8. It's on my tweet. It's Dog the Bounty Hunter's tip line, and the information that's collected there is vetted and then sent over to the marshals anonymously. So your contact information, your name and whatnot, all of that stuff, your email, none of that goes to the marshals, and it's not going to DeSoto County, guys. It's going to go directly to the U.S. Marshals. Sorry, there's a fly that got in my eye. And they'll take it from there. They're going to pursue every lead, obviously, and the goal is to catch this guy sooner than later. They're hoping to catch him before the weekend comes to an end, and with your help, they can. So we established a tip line, again, thanks to Dog the Bounty Hunter, who is using his immense social media, something he should be doing more often. I think a lot of you guys have to tweet him and encourage him to come on X and become kind of a full-time Xer who gets involved in manhunts. Television has become a thing of the past, essentially, and I know that if enough of you guys start tweeting and interacting with Dog, that he will get involved in many more manhunts just like he used to, and he'll do it for the love of it. He loves to catch these guys. He loves to catch these monsters and get them off the street. He loves to speak with victims and assure them that, to the best of his ability, he's going to do everything he can. And dating back to the early 2000s, he is the only known by household name bounty hunter. And it's not for television or show. It's the fact that his awareness that he can raise is immense. And during manhunt, it's not about a horse and pony show. Every little post matters. So when you have somebody with millions of followers and millions of police officer followers and people that like to stay alert, chase manhunts, be in the know, that audience morphs into essentially an army of hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of eyes on the ground, of PIs going through their own. You essentially become part of the manhunt because you just never know what you'll see. You might catch on your Ring camera the individual coming through your yard. That tip right there might lead to his arrest within 30 minutes, and it'll put an end to this, and it'll save a life. That's the goal, guys. We don't want this guy to go around and hurt anybody else. We don't want anybody to get hurt. We need him brought to justice. The tip line was established today, so we can start ramping up tips. We need to get as many sightings of any suspicious activity. We need to get as much information over to the federal government to capture Joshua Zimmerman before another person is abducted, is assaulted, and is murdered. Joshua is a very dangerous individual. It's confirmed that he is armed. Keep in mind, when we covered Danilo Cavalcante, we found out he got the gun on, I think, day 12. And that was essentially the eve of his capture. That changed the manhunt drastically. If you guys remember, We were in a cornfield, and all we hear on the radio is the suspect has a rifle. Obviously, that's not a good thing to hear, and our stomachs dropped. In this case, the guy is armed from the gate. He left armed. He is ready to fight. He doesn't have to steal a gun. He has weapons. He is prepared. He is armed, and he is ready. He is not ready to go back to prison, but he's ready to go out with a fight, which means do not approach, do not apprehend. If you see somebody that looks like him, don't scream out, Josh. Don't say Zimmerman. Don't say something that'll catch his attention. Don't make it obvious that you're calling the police. Don't make any obvious and suspicious moves when you're dealing with somebody who can star in a Lifetime movie on their own. This guy's going to be paying attention to people walking by, and he's going to look back to see if you look back. He's going to see if you take out your cell phone. So play it very safe. And just because there are people around, don't fool yourself. This is not Danilo Cavalcante. This is not Stacey Drake. This is not the Bibb County 5. This guy doesn't care if he is at the Super Bowl and Lady Gaga's doing the halftime show. He'll open fire and kill everybody that sees him until he runs out of bullets. That's who we're dealing with. We're not dealing with somebody who is scared to die. We're not dealing with somebody who is afraid of death, who is afraid of the law. He has it in his head that he's not going to go to prison. So you do the math. That means he's either going to have a gunfight or he's going to try to go out suicide by cop, which is when you run out with a gun. And obviously they will shoot you, rightfully so, because even if I wasn't a cop and a guy comes running out, I'm going to shoot the guy if he's running out with a gun. Or the very unlikely 0.1% chances he commits suicide. Great outcome. Unlikely, very unlikely. This guy does not want to go out without a bang. He wants to be famous. He wants to be an influencer, and he's going about it in modern, sick way. He got out of prison, for example, a few years ago, and he went right to Facebook Live and posted a video in his prison regalia holding stacks of money. Now, guys, you've got a guy. This is how dumb some criminals are. I mean, almost 99%. Criminals are pretty stupid to begin with. But this guy gets out of prison, goes in front of a mirror wearing his prison regalia, his little outfit, and he's holding stacks of money, okay? The IR, see, it's stuff like that, and this isn't related to, like, the murder and stuff, but it's those little things that should warrant a visit from parole, you would think. If a prisoner got out of prison for a violent offense and he's holding hundreds of thousands of dollars in his hand, do you really think he's going to stay in town and listen to your little parole? That money isn't legal, pal. He's not working at CVS. He is killing, raping, and kidnapping. He is charging for tattoos, blowing the head off, and then robbing them. That is how he gets his money, and he's got stacks of it. How do you get out of prison and have that amount of money? It's just mind-boggling. And then he has the audacity to go on live, knowing he's on parole, knowing that he just got out of prison, and show off nearly, $100,000. Pal, you've been in prison. They make 20 cents an hour. That money translates into you have a great network of friends and you just ratted on them. So at the end of the day, Joshua Zimmerman, if you are his friend and you're a thug, a gangster, he's ratting on you. And you probably should try to take care of him yourself. Call the police if you see him. It's not snitching when it's Joshua Zimmerman. You can tell on Joshua and you won't be a snitch. You'll be a hero. This guy will kill your daughter, your wife, your girlfriend, abduct them, rape them, kill them. Snitch on the guy, that's fine. It's not snitching when you have a monster on the loose. This is not a human. This guy has no emotions. He has no remorse. He is a thrill kill. To tattoo a name on somebody's head, a woman's head, pose with a photo together as if they are a couple, for him to blow her head off. And there's a lot more to the story because he wasn't alone, guys, which adds to the fact that this guy has too much help and they are way too far behind. The poor U.S. Marshals get stuck with a case file that says we have an inmate from Texas in Mississippi. He's suspected of an attempted murder. Meanwhile, the victim's dead. Okay, she's dead. She has a bullet hole through the head where the tattoo is. The girl is dead. The marshals get involved and they are told the suspected attempted murderer. Well, okay. From there, the suspected attempted murderer grabs his case file as if he's chief counsel Ted Bundy, walks out the door. Meanwhile, his minions, and they're coming for you, and you guys know what's funny is a lot of the people involved, and that's why I'm kind of happy that we jumped on this so quick. A lot of the people that are going to get arrested are watching these streams and commenting, not specifically on X, but on stuff like Facebook and Instagram. There's a lot of individuals during manhunts, they slip up and they defend their friends, and then they defend their accomplices, and they defend their fellow gang members. Now, in America, it's illegal to be in a gang. It's not recommended that you go on Facebook and say that you're in a gang. When there's a killer on the loose, it's not recommended that you say he's a good guy and this is all crazy and out of proportion, because really, I mean, I'm happy that they do that. But at the end of the day, Joshua is in a group of these miscreants, these thug gangster wannabes who run around like cowards and they kill women. If Joshua was a tough guy, okay, and he might be built pretty big, at the end of the day, we know he likes to cross-dress, so he's a tough cross-dresser. Why don't you stop killing women and abducting them? If you are known to rape men, take somebody your own size and see what happens. This guy is targeting people that he can overpower, that he can manipulate, that he could abduct, and that he can torture, because he is a sicko. Now, the marshals, back to that, they get the case, the guy leaves, they ask for the surveillance, and the county says, no, of course, we watched it, let's go see it. So they go to watch the surveillance. Now, Netflix couldn't make this stuff up. It's not there. Don't worry, we have a cloud, we have a backup. Okay, good. It's not there. So somebody takes the physical DVR, the material that was in there, and then one-ups them by going into the cloud and deleting the footage that shows the person stealing the footage and every route of possible travel through the courthouse except the parts that the killer didn't walk through. Those are all available, and you see officers running left and right looking for a killer. Well, guys, maybe you should have left somebody in the camera room, because you all ran out, and it's very rare. So I'm not going to put it on the poor, it's not a jail, it's a courthouse, but they do have sheriffs and stuff. I'm not going to put it on all of them, because they knew the guy is a murderer, not a suspected murderer, so they knew what they had on their hands. So for them to be running around like chickens without their heads cut off, that would have been me, because I would never suspect that the guy's connected. I'm sorry, I'm spinning because it's crazy. Connected enough to come back after he's, not that he came back, but who escapes custody and then has somebody go back in and steal all the evidence and then delete the evidence showing them stealing the evidence in a matter of minutes? The city was locked down in 7 minutes and this guy got out in 6? Baloney. There is something suspicious beyond belief. I have a lot of friends who are elected district attorneys from here, Suffolk County, in Massachusetts, over in Boston, LA, Colorado, the DA who had Chris Watts in Weld County. I'm friends with a lot of prosecutors. They're the only ones that have the key to the building, them and the sheriff, and also potentially the head of the judge's clerks. I mean, there are very few people for obvious reasons. It's a building where the most vile, not everybody that goes to the courthouse is bad, but they do when somebody's standing trial, a killer, or if they're transporting a killer, they do visit that facility, unfortunately. And apparently they also leave and take all the evidence with them. Now, what's interesting is there's a lot of interesting aspects about this case, and every day the lives are getting longer and longer, because I'm trying to fill you in on as much stuff that I found out overnight that is able to be released without any hesitation. Because keep in mind, this guy is, again, from what I'm told, and again, we were very informed during the Danilo manhunt, and I told you guys last week that we have nobody in that Mississippi area. Well, the feds took over, and now we have an army of people that we're texting. So we have information coming, and so we know what is able to be released, and we have an idea of his threat level. And it's just growing. It's growing because he has not made certain moves, I guess is the way to put it. He went off of it's almost like a planned diversion, and that raises a lot of red flags. Again, guys, I'm going to remind you that the CIA has an agent that is on the case. I don't know what his or her specific function is. I do know that he or her, they are there solo, and that they are representing the CIA, and even the sources that I have no idea what they are doing, what they accomplished, what they reviewed. They just know that they were there, and that they are involved, and that they are listening and watching. And that just adds an extra layer of who the hell is this Joshua Zimmerman? It's mind-boggling when you put the little things together, and it took about a week. At first I said he was a suspected murderer. I took the word of DeSoto County. I believe what prosecutors, not their press releases, but when it comes to escaped inmates, I believe them. I believe what they say, because they wouldn't generally put out something that's that big of a F-up or negligent, very negligent. Now, guys, that's a tactic, a very good tactic. Here's a theory. The prisoner escapes, and they put on the poster that he is wanted for suspected attempted murder. I see every other day I get tagged in escapes. I only tweet them out when it's probably something. I stay away from work release unless it's a work release that's related to an individual that police say is a threat to the community. Stuff like that, I'll just retweet. But this is the second manhunt that I have gone all in on, and I'm far away from the place. I wish I was there, because the locals need to know what's happening. But this is the first manhunt that we have the whole team assembled. The same line of communications that we had with the Cavalcante manhunt are almost there. We are just a few agencies away from finishing our little line of communication to make sure that we all have the same intel. And the goal of that is not to have the inside scoop. It's to make sure that we're not sending out rumors. As more people start to cover the escape, if they don't catch him in the coming days, there's going to be a lot of streamers that haven't covered manhunts before. Now, the streamers from Cavalcante, phenomenal. And those are the streamers that locals, you guys have to push them, because I haven't found one that didn't stick by facts. A lot of the times, maybe people didn't like their style, but if that's the case, that's fine. Right now, it's not about style of reporting. It's about let's catch the guy. Obviously, keep the locals' privacy at the forefront. Keep the law enforcement privacy at the forefront. Don't get involved in the manhunt. Don't pull a cornfield and go in with guns and beers. Let the police handle him, because this man is not somebody to be reckoned with at all. His connections go all the way to the top, The grand jury investigation is very fluid. They're doing it on a weekend. There's a grand jury, so DeSoto County, your days, whoever helped, the individuals who helped organize this spectacle, that's going to come to an end. This is the United States. Escapees don't get away. It happened once at Alcatraz, I think, and they declared them dead. That's the last time somebody got away, and I still don't think that person got away. They probably died in the ocean trying to get away. This is America. Joshua's going to get caught. His accomplices are going to get caught. The question is, do you want to go to prison for a few months, a few years, 10 years? If he kills somebody, do you want to do 25 to life? So do you want to have accomplice to murder? The time to turn him in is now. If you're his friend and you are part of that culture about snitches get stitches, that's fine. That doesn't apply here, bud. If you have a daughter, if you have a wife, if you have even a husband, I don't know what you have, Zimmerman is a threat to them. He's a threat to your family. He's a threat to what you stand for. He's a threat to your businesses. If you're a drug dealer, guess what? He's a threat to you. So snitch on the guy before you get tied in with him. Because let me tell you something, the task forces that are getting involved in the coming days, they don't play games. If you're tied to Zimmerman, you're going to be tied up until they find this guy. The time to talk is now. If you know something, if you are related to him, I know a lot of his relatives are watching, he's not going to get away. You might have a 5-minute reunion, but if you do that and turn him in, because you're going to go to prison for just as long as him, because he's going to die in prison. You're going to do 25 to life if he harms another person. If he doesn't harm another person, you're still looking at 15 years. It doesn't matter. You cannot aid in the escape of a killer. This is not a DUI. This is not some clown. This isn't even a killer that did it out of passion, like he was angry at a wife that had been together. Not that that's an excuse, but that's a mentality thing. Those people are not so much purebred killers. They bottle it in for years, and then they kill their loved one, but they don't have the urge to go out and then kill their neighbor, right? They don't have the urge to go to 7-Eleven and kidnap your daughter, right? Zimmerman has the urge to kill, the urge to rape, the urge to abduct, and he doesn't get off unless he does it with a tattoo on the head. The guy has such a sick and demented mind that if you are defending him in any way, and I believe in you're innocent until proven guilty, trust me, I am all about that. Unless it takes very few people for me to say from the outset, guilty. Zimmerman, guilty as charged. There is no the word accused, you can sue me, Zimmerman, maybe then we can find you. There is no accused. You are a murderer, a cold-blooded murderer, and it's time that you are brought to justice. Again, if you are friends with this individual, and a lot of people are, he is a charmer. He will talk you into anything, and before you know it, you're going to be an accomplice to murder. You can ask his last friend that. He's in jail in Houston, an accomplice to murder. Snitches don't get stitches in this case. The people that don't snitch get jailed, or they'll end up dead if Zimmerman gets to them. That's the scenario you guys have. If you have that mentality about not telling on your friends, about letting the police handle it, it's their job, let them do it. They are, but I'm going to tell you again, if they find out that you're assisting them, they are going to come for you faster than they come for Zimmerman, and you are going to get the short end of the stick. You know why? Zimmerman is the headline. You're a weasel. All of his accomplices are weasels. You are going to get the short end of the stick, the long sentence. You're going to never get a job again in government, no matter what. If you are in the, even if you were to turn yourself in, you're never getting a job in government again. What you will have is the opportunity to say you cooperated, to say that you regret what you did, and that you want this guy caught. That's the only way to redeem yourself. The person that helped him get out, and it wasn't one person, the people that helped him, one of you guys has to get the brains, go away from the group for 5 minutes, use the restroom, and call the police. He's not alone. People know where he is. He has friends. He has family. If you're with him, do the right thing before it's far too late. Once you are in and tied with Zimmerman, they're not going to pull a Cavalcante on you. In Chester County, his accomplices lucked out. They got the deal of a lifetime because there are very suspicious billionaires in that region that don't want their business named. That's why that didn't happen in Danilo. There, the T is out. That's not the case for Zimmerman. Doesn't have the protection of a multi-billion-dollar garden. Zimmerman does not have the protection of anybody but gang members, potentially, the cult that we have been discussing, and government officials, not a police officer, not a deputy, not a low ranker, not somebody that's doing their job because they want to serve the community. No, this is somebody who should be on the show The Blacklist with Raymond Reddington because they are living a double life as a law enforcement officer in the day and a criminal of the most vile kind at night. Assisting a killer to get out of prison makes you just as bad as that killer. Everybody that he kills, if he does kill, from the date of the escape, you are an accomplice to murder. You are. People know where he is. I can't say it enough. If you are with Zimmerman, call the police. Don't run away from him. Don't make it obvious. Just call them. The first person in the door, they will get the deal. And I can almost say that I'm confident that if one of you cracks and tells on him, that you won't get any prison time. Your friends, who aren't really friends, for putting you in a situation like this, they can lie in the bed that they made. The first person to report the whereabouts of Zimmerman, if there are people that know where he is, and there are, do not just the right thing, the thing that's going to keep your life. If you want to live by the sword and die by the sword, just go till Monday, Tuesday when they catch the guy. Because you might make it until Friday when Zimmerman snitches on you. And don't get it twisted. They say that people that do life won't snitch. When you have somebody who makes the country, and this is what this guy's going to do in the next couple of days, make the country look almost incompetent because we can't catch the guy, when that's not the case. The problem is there are a few bad apples that helped him. When they catch Zimmerman, they are coming for you so fast, and if they don't find you, he will guide them to you. He will tell them. He will. They have tactics, and at the end of the day, though stuff may not be the most constitutional stuff in the world, sometimes the Constitution has to be put aside when there's a serial killer raping a serial killer rapist / kidnapper that has help. Because if he has help now, who else are these people helping? How did he get to Mississippi and in 2 days he made a network to orchestrate an escape and steal all the evidence and take the surveillance? No. They've got a system going in DeSoto County. They're making a lot of money getting criminals off the hook. They got killers going out on the loose, rapists, child molesters probably. If you have money in DeSoto County, don't buy a lawyer. Pay off the people in the courthouse. Much easier, because you can walk out the front door, get in a car, God knows, maybe they drove them, get a gun right away. Maybe that comes with paying off the individual. They give you a little prison escape starter kit. You get a gun, you get your little snacks, a watermelon, whatever you want. And watermelon's because of Danilo Cavalcante. That's the joke. For those of you that are watching, that's the joke. Danilo was eating watermelon. This guy was given an opportunity of a lifetime. He took it. That doesn't mean that the people that gave it to him are going to get away with any of that. They're just not. They will do the rest of their lives in prison because you just pissed off. The people that are angry, it goes all the way to the top. That's top. When the CIA gets involved, the CIA takes orders from Washington, D.C. This is Bumble F, Mississippi, and it's just a killer. They didn't come for Danilo, who was a convicted murderer that was on his way, trying to get to Brazil, because there was no need to have the CIA chasing an escaped inmate. It's not Osama bin Laden, or is he? What is his ties to national security that it warrants that? At the end of the day, I'm not complaining, because the more boots on the ground, the better. I mean, the CIA, you can't see them the way they operate, so it's not really much of a presence, but they are always, they're watching. We need to make sure that DeSoto County, because it's likely that this individual, Joshua Zimmerman, didn't make it far from that courthouse. It's very likely. If you live near that courthouse, I would say, from what I learned on those 14 days in Chester County, and then the 7 or 8 other manhunts in between, that not that we went to, but that we covered just by tweeting and texting people. If the best way to put it is, this guy does not have an out plan except death, crime, murder. That's it. You're not dealing with a person who cares about his family. And if he does, if you are his family, if you're his father, if his father's watching this, which you are, I'm pretty sure it's either his dad or his brother, you have a lot of power, man. What you can do is, your son or brother, I'm not sure what your relation is, he's watching what you post. When Danilo Cavalcante escaped, they used the mother to try to get him back. And it wasn't because they're out for him. At the end of the day, your son is charged with crimes. He has to answer to them. Welcome to America. If you're charged with a crime, you have to put your big boy pants on and answer to it. Whether it's murder, whether it's fraud, whether it's a DUI, just go and do it. There really is no skipping town, unless it's something stupid like a DUI. Those guys is it worth it? No, but they can do it. Murder, there is no skipping town. You don't just pick up and go. When they announced it as a suspected murderer, that caught a lot of attention. And the reason of that is, the locals didn't panic, didn't put their guard up, because it was a suspected, he's a suspected person he's suspected for attempting to kill the dead girl. That's what the poster translated to. And so what does the media do? Nothing, because it doesn't have which is weird, because if a guy skips town on a DUI from jail, it's usually on the news. God forbid he had a drink, he's a threat to the community, lock the bar, he might come and get a tequila. They'll put that on the news. But for some reason, this slipped the radar. And one of the reasons that it slipped the radar is they didn't use the M word, murder. It's not hard, murder. You have to use the word when it is warranted. When a man or a woman takes the life of another, the definition is it's easy to know. The person dies as a result of your crime. You had premeditation, it's first degree, and that's what Zimmerman, to do a tattoo on the head. What was he planning to do? I mean, tattoo her and what, go on a date? Highly doubt that the date was his court date that he skipped out on. Again, guys, so if you see Zimmerman, don't make it obvious. Don't cause a scene. If there's an officer around, just walk up to them calmly, like you're asking for directions, and you would tell them that you're playing it safe. The guy that's walking up ahead of you resembles the escaped prisoner that's wanted for murder. You don't have to remember his name. All you have to say is that. And they will obviously follow him. They're not going to make a scene. They're going to try to feel it out. And they will understand who it is. And if it's not him, they're still going to talk to him and then clear it. But if you think you see him, don't go running, because that'll catch his attention. And he's a fast guy. You don't want him chasing you. And he doesn't have to run. He just has to turn around, take his backpack out, and you can make it pretty far and he'll still take you out. Don't make it obvious. If you see this guy, don't make it known that you recognize him. Don't pull out your phone to take a picture. Don't do something stupid. There are cameras put everywhere. If it's him, they will catch it on camera. Just because you take a picture, all that might do is delay it, because they're going to respond to a victim, a homicide victim found lying in the street. And by the time they go through your phone and see that you took a picture of the guy, he's going to be in probably Colorado by then. So don't make a scene if you see Zimmerman. Don't make it obvious. And if you suspect it's him, don't hesitate to tell the police. It is very important, unless you're in DeSoto County. Now, this is why this manhunt is a pain in like the neck. I've never told people not to call. Usually it's very simple. You call 911, don't apprehend, don't approach. If you see him, call 911. That is the case for the most part. The catch is, if you live in DeSoto County, if you see him, call the U.S. Marshals. The number's a little bit longer. I understand that. Don't call 911. Not in DeSoto County. Unless you call 911 and you immediately call the marshals. But I still wouldn't recommend you alert DeSoto County about this. All I can say, without getting into, I guess, the stuff that we can't talk about, is that there is a grand jury, and they are sitting right now as we're sitting here. Like, as I'm live on a Saturday, there's a grand jury. And it's not a state grand jury. And I doubt they even know what state this grand jury is in. The feds are coming, and they're coming to town. That's the easiest way to put it. When you F with a courthouse, it doesn't matter if it's in a town that has 7 people or 700,000 people. The criminal justice system imagine ADT, like an alarm system. They have that around their system, that being the criminal justice system. They look at that system as if it's a person of its own, as if it's a victim. But let me tell you, when you make the system look stupid, that system will come and F you so bad that you will wish that you did the suicide by cop Zimmerman. The system does not like to be made a fool of. And if you could ask Danilo, which you might be able to in about 12 years when he sees the light of day again, he's a prisoner within a prison where he belongs. He's in a cage, inside of a caged building where he belongs. That's what they do to people that embarrass them. That's what they do to people that try to flee, that try to cheat justice, that try to get the easy way out. We have a system for a reason. Maybe it's flawed. Escaping's not going to fix it. It's going to just give them a case that sticks. If you're innocent and you flee, all you just did is, okay, now you're exonerated from the first one, but here's 15 years for the escape, you moron. There's no reason to ever flee, honestly. I mean, unless you are a murderer. That's why Zimmerman's on the loose. So, again, if you see this guy, don't make it obvious. Don't call 911 if you live in DeSoto County. Call the U.S. Marshals. Call the FBI. If you go on your phone, it comes up in a second. You could just go right to Google FBI near me. It'll give you the local satellite field office. It'll give you the local divisions. His connections, Zimmerman, his connections do not go up to the federal government. They are investigating this as if it is treason. I have never seen the task force. They have a task force investigating it's going to become the story of 24. It's going to become the story of 24. There are going to be big changes in Mississippi, in DeSoto County. That courthouse is as close to being considered, I don't even know what to call it. It's never happened, guys. This is like a Watergate, and that's how the government's treating it. But much worse, because this involves a killer. And you guys see how serious they took that, Watergate and the election scandal, XYZ. I'm not linking those two, but you know what I mean. They go crazy when you come at the government. You cannot make a courthouse in the United States of America look so incompetent that it can't hold a murderer that's gonna stand trial to face the punishment for his actions. And you want the public to feel safe with that? That courthouse is about to go out of business. I've never heard of that, because it just doesn't happen. When the courthouse fails the community and the community no longer feels safe, that place is gone. Because why would I want my perpetrator to be held at, essentially, what would you even compare this place to? A bus stop? Go in and then leave? No. I'd rather just not report the crime so he doesn't come back after me. That is the atmosphere that DeSoto County has created. That is the atmosphere that has been exposed. Had it not been for this little stunt with Zimmerman, this wasn't their first rodeo, guys. DeSoto County, they're not related to Zimmerman, is nowhere from that region. They don't know who he is. They do know Benjamin Franklin. They know Ben, and they love Ben. How long has that county been doing favors for criminals? How many criminals have been prosecuted? And I have a lot of questions for that county. I want to know how many rapists got off. I want to know how many murderers were found not guilty or not charged. I want to know how many child predators got out of your buildings and never got charged. I want to know who paid who. I want to know your salaries, and I want to see what you own. I want to know if you have a home in Florida and a yacht. Something's going on in DeSoto County, and it was exposed when Josh Zimmerman escaped from the courthouse. That's greed at its finest, coming full circle. They let the wrong one out. Maybe they didn't know that the guy had a record literally from Houston to Connecticut. Maybe they didn't know. They know now. And the jig is up. No, that jig is up. The operation they have in DeSoto County, whatever it may be, where it's pay to play, where you can commit a crime in no time if you pay. You give them the bends, you're good. No wonder. Are there lawyers in that county? Maybe one or two. You don't need a lawyer. Take the money and give it to the county so you can get off. And if you want to commit a crime, move to DeSoto County, Mississippi, and Waterbury, Connecticut. Because Waterbury, they'll let you rape and kidnap, charge you, release you, knowing you're going to kill again. You get arrested for murder. DeSoto County, thank God forbid he was in a normal, non-corrupt region. He would have to face the consequence. But he landed at DeSoto County. Perfect place. House of cards. He was only there a couple of days. That makes you wonder, how obvious is the corruption? If I am from Connecticut and I'm arrested in Mississippi, how did the conversation come up? Like, yo, if you want to get out of here, listen, here's how much it's going to cost. Here's what we can do for you. We'll take the surveillance. We got you covered. Now, do you want the full package? Do you need your little starter kit too? All right, that's going to be a little bit more. Oh, you need a gun. Do you have well, no, you probably don't have a license to carry because you're a felon. So we're going to have to go into evidence. Let's get a burner gun. Like, what the hell is going on with this, guys? Where is DeSoto County? I almost want to visit it, but I feel more comfortable going to North Korea. And I feel I would be able to get in and out of North Korea because I'm respectful, compared to going to DeSoto County where I'm nosy and I'll probably get arrested for finding some stuff out that I shouldn't know. That county has like a prison starter kit. Locked up for murder, we got you. A gun, check. Pajamas, check. Ride, check. Out of state, check. Hold the lockdown. When should we lock it down? All right, we'll do 8 minutes, 7 minutes, check. Oh, but he got out a minute earlier. It's crazy timing. Let's see what, the CIA's here. Oh, great, but the evidence is gone. Like, what's going on? And like, you can't make this stuff up. I don't understand. Perhaps the media is working on a lengthy story to try to catch up, because it's the weirdest case. You don't usually have a guy wanted for attempted murder, only to find out that he's killed a laundry web of people, abducted girls, that blew their heads off, rapes men and women, raped men in prison. This guy was raping in prison. He cannot stop getting off. He is disgusting. Even prison doesn't stop him, but will? The chair. Hopefully Texas, where he's charged, give him the chair, get rid of this guy, because prison, you're just going to make the prisoners unsafe. They don't even deserve Zimmerman. Honestly, the only person that deserves Zimmerman is down, like literally. That's where he has to go. You could put Zimmerman here and he'll be fine. Don't put him in prison. He's a threat to the community there. And if somebody is a threat to prisoners, do you really want him on the street with the public? Guys, this story should have blown up 15 days ago. They dropped the ball and said this guy was a walk in the park. He's a little bit of a problem, but we'll get him. No, he's a Long Island serial killer, but bald and built better. That's who this guy is. And they're just embarrassed as hell to say it. They're slowly getting there. You know why? Because the U.S. Marshals, they don't play games. Their job is to catch this guy, and they don't give a shit about politics. I'm sorry, I don't curse much on the lies, but they don't care about politics. They don't. They are the ones that enhanced it up to murder right off the bat. They don't play these games. They come in, they're the most elite task force. I mean, they raise the most professional task force agents in the world. The U.S. Marshals, their task forces can, honestly, I would feel safe with them going to war, but I don't want them going to war because we need them here to catch the monsters on the homeland. But the Marshals, they will catch this guy. They will. They're going to catch him. And that's who's going to make the arrest. It's going to be the U.S. Marshals. It always is. And that's for a reason. It's what they do. That is their only job, is to find monsters who should not be on the street and put them back behind bars. So if I hear anything, I'll let you guys know. I shared his alias. Share his wanted poster. Again, we have to push people to start pouring the tips in. Dog the Bounty Hunter has opened a tip line dedicated to Joshua Zimmerman. We are making this a national manhunt. We're pulling all the strings, getting as many people as we know, pooling our resources together to get networks, to get influential people, to get just all of our friends and networks essentially together to get awareness going. The tip line is established. Again, it was established for people to come and feel safe. A lot of times people don't want to talk to the police or law enforcement. The information that's sent to the tip line, your name, your email, your number, your IP, all of that stuff is not going to go to the Marshals. The only thing they care about is catching him. So if you send a tip, it's going to just say, I believe caller believes she saw perp on the 200 block of XYZ at approximately whatever 100 hours. And they're going to go. They're not going to go looking for you. They're just going to go looking to make sure he's not there. So again, anything you see that's suspicious, obviously call the U.S. Marshals first. I'm not saying call us or dog. Call the U.S. Marshals first. But if you don't feel comfortable calling law enforcement, there is another option, which is Dog the Bounty Hunter's tip line. I tweeted it. I'm going to pin it on the top of my Twitter. I'm going to put it on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I think it's TikTok. So TikTok is jealous of X. It's weird. They kind of came at me for having X branding on my stuff, which I don't care because it's going to stay there. I like X. TikTok, if you're on there, I'm sorry. I really don't give a crap about the platform. I was just there to get awareness going. I don't care for my following on that. I really have never used it until this week. I used it and they got angry. So it is what it is. I'm going to post on X, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I'm going to keep sharing the poster. Any tips that you guys have, call the Dog the Bounty Hunter's tip line. Call the U.S. Marshals. If you live out of DeSoto County, call 911. Again, if you see the guy, don't apprehend him. Don't approach him. He is armed. He is dangerous. He will kill. He will kidnap. He will rape. Again, he will kill. He will kidnap. He will rape. It's Saturday. Let's get this guy.